All right, so working late night shift here, early morning shift. Just trying to get some work done before the Christmas holiday, get it out the door, so to speak. I talk a lot about being honest with your customers, being straightforward. I quoted this job. It was a straight install, Western plow onto a very old International. I'll show you that in a minute. But it's plow frame, and it was a straight up, what does it cost to put a plow frame on? Should be a straight up, I'm saying straight up a lot, straightforward install. Should just bolt up in place and you'll be good to go. Well, it wasn't quite the case. So let me show you what I'm working with here. All right, so we have a Western unimount plow, or plow frame. This is supposed to be like a universal adapter. It will work on a variety of trucks. They have a couple different ways it goes together. It comes in a big box with a couple different pieces in it. Its design has some welding involved. There's some pieces that gotta go together, but there's a couple different varieties and a couple different ways to do it. So we pulled the bumper off. I'm working over here on this truck. You can see it's a much older International. Nice truck, still runs solid. So when we pulled the bumper off and went to put the frame on, you can see this has got to be up flush like this, somewhere up here. So I'm going to be right over where the original bolt holes that go into the, that hold the bumper on. So now this went from a straight install to a custom job. So I have to revisit the customer and talk to them about these tabs are going to have to get cut off right here. We're going to have to probably make a plate, because obviously I can't put the bolts behind, because where this needs to be is right where that bracket is. And I could probably burn them out, but I'm not going to get the alignment, and I'm going to be trying to put bolts through right where those welds are. And you can kind of see over here. See how the bolt's lining up on one side. Even if I cheat it as much as I can, I'm still kind of right into where that flange is, if you want to call it. There's no good way to do it. I'd like to bolt right through, but that's not going to happen. So we'll probably fabricate a plate that goes on the back. I already got a piece of 1/2-inch plate out to make a spacer so that I can come over the bolts. You can see that there. And then we'll bolt it in, and then there's these tie-in brackets that go through the frame where the toe hooks are. There's some thrust brackets and whatnot, but this went from a straightforward job to obviously something a little bit more involved. So I have to go back to the customer before I do anything and say, hey, this is what I'm working with, this is what the deal is, let's revisit and work out the price, because the $250 for a straight bolt up install that I quoted is certainly not going to cover my time. And at the end of the day, that's what this is about. It's about not getting beat. We don't want to get beat for anything. I mean, time is money. My time is worth something. Obviously, they need the plow. It's winter here in the Northeast. We already had one storm. We have a dusting tonight. Yeah, dusting at best. It's already flaring out. So, gonna need the plow in the truck sooner than later. So we'll have a chat in the morning. Like I said, it's very late night. I'm not gonna call him at 12:30 at night and say, hey, this is what's going on. Side note, in business, or at least for myself, it's the holiday season, so my kids wanted to go. The local zoo has this thing where they put lights all over the zoo. It's a nice night. There's not many animals out, but it's holiday spirit thing. So I had to take some time today where I normally am working all day to catch up, and I didn't get a chance to do that. So I'm here late at night. If you own your own business, you got to do what you got to do. That's my little side note. Obviously, this is going to be using a frame as intended, because it shows you right in there. It tells you where you can make the cuts and how to modify it as intended, but working on a truck that is much older than what it was designed for. So that's what I got for now, and we'll finish this video up soon. All right, so here we are. It's 2019 now. It's been a couple weeks since I last worked on this project. New Year's came in. As many of you know, I'm a firefighter, or maybe you don't know, now you do. I'm a firefighter, worked New Year's Eve, rung in the new year with the full alarm, full assignment. It was a crazy night. I'm just playing catch up now. It's the second or third. It's the third. It's my daughter's birthday. My oldest turned 6 today. Goes quick. If you have kids or you're going to have kids, enjoy it while it lasts, because in a blink of an eye, they're growing up. My daughter was telling me all kinds of gossip from school today. She came home sick. I did this, I did that. She said this, she said that. I got to do this, I didn't get to do this. It's amazing. I feel like it was last week she was just, saying daddy for the first time, or I love you, or it's so fast. Take the time while you can. Another side note. So here we are, we're back on this plow project, the International Plow. I'll show you a picture of it. Went back to the customer, we talked it out between me, him, and his one of the mechanics that works for him, or his brother-in-law, about a solution for this plow frame. So I'm going to show you what we're dealing with and what we came up with as a solution. All right, so if you remember, when we had this frame out last week or 2 weeks ago before Christmas, the frame wasn't lining up. So the simple solution was to change the brackets from side to side. So the bracket that was on this side went to this side, and the bracket that was on this side went to this side, which flipped these flanges around. You can see it's just a 90-degree flange. And it used to be in here, and now it's facing out the other side. And that gave us what we needed to get at least one of our bolt holes to line up. And I might be able to cheat that down. Now again, this frame is designed to sit flush with the top of the bumper right in here. So these tabs are still going to come off. I might cheat it down a little bit. We'll see. It's all about alignment. If I can get 2 bolts that way, that's great. We changed out the hardware on these brackets. It went from the original fine thread stuff, which we have here, a little old. We just changed it out with straight grade 8 bolts. A little bit longer than I needed, but it's what he had. And the decision that we made was to go with a channel bumper, just to give it the added strength. You can see this is C10, about 3/8 thick. It's got a nice strong flange on it, nice big web, nice heavy solid bumper. Compared to the old bumper, the shop's packed, which is basically, I call it sheet metal, but it's much thinner. Much thinner metal, maybe 3/16. And it's beat up, it's bent, it's taken a beating over time. So this is just mocked up right now to kind of get me an idea of where my alignment is. But as you can see, we have the extra tabs in here. It goes through. I had to make a washer. This isn't exactly the right size bolt for this, but I'm not going to drill on the frame. I'm going to truck this old and basically make that metal even thinner. I'll probably try and get a bushing in here eventually, just to push up that space. I don't have it right now, but for alignment purposes, I'm just getting it on and bolt it up. We'll cut this out, do what we got to do, and we're going to build a bumper. We'll put the thrust blocks and whatnot in. We'll get it all rock and rolling. So that's where we're at. That was a solution. The point here, or the takeaway that I would say, is just think outside the box. Sometimes flipping a bracket around like that saves you a lot of time, because otherwise I'm going to have to make those plates. So now I don't need to make the plates. I can just bolt it up and bolt it right through. Maybe drill it out and drill out these bolts that are back here, or the nuts rather. Drill them out or cut them off and go with a straight through bolt. Alright, so I got the bumper mocked up. It's about where we are for tonight. Laid out where we want the alignment of the frame to be. I want to set it high so that these top straps can tie into it. But just getting general ideas. Going to play around with the alignment and get this all set up tomorrow and finish her out and get her out the door. Alright, so the bumper's on, frame's in. You got to do some thrust brackets. Having a little trouble with the alignment. There's some stuff underneath in the way, some cross members and whatnot. One more trip back to the customer, figure out what's going on. This will be done. Once those brackets are in, this frame is done and it's back to the customer for him to do the wiring and whatnot for the plow. So one more install. All right, so all wrapped up. The truck's back together for the most part. Still got an exhaust pipe to put on. Customer's going to take care of that. Some wiring to do. We talked about how we put this together. Final product is it's all in. Thrust brackets are in. All the way back. Had a notch part of the frame or part of the cross member to make them fit, but it's ready to go. Channel bumper, brackets moved around, all bolted up, all tightened up. Can't really see it so great, but the thrust bracket goes from back there. See the new bolts up there, bolted through, and the same thing on both sides. Welded in the back, buttoned up and done. All right, so as you can see, I am a dirty mess. I've been crawling around the floor in the shop all day finishing this truck finally. Just to recap, so I quoted the job at $250 to put a standard frame on. And the long and short of it is that it was far less clear cut than that. I only ended up charging him an extra hour than what I originally quoted to put the frame on. Why is that? It's the honest thing to do. I hate doing estimates up front, but for certain things like putting a plow on, when there's companies out there that are going to do them for $400 or $500 to keep my regular customer, to keep the work coming in, sometimes you do what you got to do because he has so much other work. Prime example of this being while I was here, I had to weld a pin in for the one of his loaders. I'll show you that at the very end. But he constant work. So it was one of those things that I could cut off my nose to spite my face and charge him what my time into this was, which is probably somewhere around 10 hours all said and done with the removing of brackets, relocating hoses and all kinds of stuff. Some guys will be like, oh, you got to charge them for that. It's a plow install. There's a company out there that's going to do it for $400 or $500 if they sell them the plow. You know, you got to take care of your customers because otherwise they're not going to be your customers anymore. So $250 is what I charge them. It ended up being like $340, a little bit more than what we originally talked about, but no big deal. I also got him for the fabrication on the bumper. So I added 2 hours for that because the bumper wasn't crazy. He was flipping some backwards around, drilling some holes, getting it mocked up and put on. Also did a few other odds and ends for him, and then obviously I got the last little bit of welding with it. So all in all, it was a $700 and change, 2 days, day and a half, time-wise. So I'm probably 10 or 12 hours on this, which is a little bit less than a day and a half. I got beat well under what my normal rate is. You know, he's in the same complex as me, so you know I try to take care of those people. I give them a lower rate than my standard rate, but you know, we take care of those that take care of us. He's also really good about letting me use his shop if I need to go inside, because most of my business is based outside. So if I need a shop for a couple of days, he's usually pretty good about, hey, you can come in and do what you need to do. So yeah, it was a long job. I am really happy to be done with it because it felt like the never-ending truck. A couple hours here, a couple hours there, but you know, over 3 days, 4 days. All right, so let me show you what this other bracket was and then wrap it up. So while I was here working on the plow, he had a problem. This was welded in with just a bracket, so we came up with a way to kind of throw it in there. Doesn't look the greatest. The welds don't look great, but it was just a down and dirty, quick, you know, throw it in, make a couple brackets, throw it together. The key is that it's supposed to be able to come off relatively quick. So that's why it looks that way. And that one edge just is going to tick me off. So, doesn't look like my best welds. Paint is never your friend. You know, but it's going to hold. It's just literally the bolt sheared off inside it. They just want to make a plate to go over it. It's a 1970 something machine. They're not looking to drill and retap holes and chase after it. They want the quick, down and dirty, get it done. It was an extra hour. It's an extra couple, you know, extra $100 in my pocket for just doing some time work with some scrap he has here in the yard. And that's that. You got to take care of your customers because of things like that. You know, yeah, this is a job I got beat on for a few hours, but at the end of the day, it's a regular customer. It's somebody that constantly throws me the job here, the job here, the job here, the job here. Those are the customers you want to keep. Those are the customers that you want to keep around because they're going to keep you going week to week, month to month. And then they know somebody and you build a good reputation with them, and before you know it, you have lots of work coming in. So that's all I got to say with that. We're all wrapped up. Any questions, hit the comments below. Be sure to subscribe. Again, just trying to help you out. Anything that you want to see, hit me up with comments again down below, and we'll go from there. Cheers.